Well, as I neither live nor breathe if it isn't you again here in the attic. Welcome to the Mask Fanatic. Let's get right to it, shall we? Since we're here in the attic, home of all the interesting old Halloween masks. You know, Death Studios has a long history of making great quality collectible masks for many, many years now. And one of my favorite Death Studios editions is this guy called Madman. That's I, comma, Madman, because that was the name of the film in which this character appeared. More properly, his actual full name was Dr. Malcolm Brand, the crazy madman from I, Madman, a movie that came out in 1989. Now, this guy, as you can see, has some serious facial shortcomings caused by his repeated attempts to impress a girl he really liked. It's dusty up here. By cutting off pieces of his own ugly face and replacing them with the corresponding pieces of the faces of other, presumably more handsome and attractive people, you see. So he would cut off people's lips and noses and so forth and sew them onto himself. And well, it kind of looks like the job he did as far as the sewing kind of looks like when little kids go to summer camp and make those billfolds. And yeah, that's about as good as he ever got for being a doctor. But what a great mask this is. Scary and intense and freaky, I think. And well, it has been around for some years. And it was sculpted by one of the unsung heroes of the mask world, the mega talented John Smith. You remember John Smith, right? Sure. Now, they remember him for Pocahontas and that whole situation, but for some reason they don't really remember him as much for his contributions to the world of collectible masks. It's interesting that as I'm dying from the dust up here. I don't know if you could hear that just then. I can hear the ambulance coming. There's a siren. They're waiting for me downstairs. Somebody called 911. And anyway, I don't need them because Dr. Malcolm Brand was a doctor, right? Again, sculpted by John Smith and was in production for some time, although Death Studios masks are handmade and hand-finished by Jeff Death and sometimes a very small number of minions. Flunkies? Lackeys? No, let's stick with minions. I think that was best. Anyway, these were not factory made, so there aren't gazillions of them out there. Now, how do we know that it's licensed? It is in fact licensed because it says right on the back here, it says copyright 1988 TWE Group Incorporated. TWE. Does that stand for Trans World Entertainment? Or did they start to print the word 12 and forgot how to spell the rest of it? All I got is the TWE. No, you know, it's like it's an acronym. You know, like the FBI or my favorite, IBM, Insane Builders of Monsters. Yes. Now, in more recent times, this same basic face was used for a couple of other mask editions from Death Studios. One called Dr. Death, which has these same spooky eyes, but has him wearing like a surgical mask, a surgeon's mask over most of his face. Now that one is just Dr. Death. It's not supposed to be the Malcolm Brand character, nor is the other variant on this piece that came along in later years called Cannibal, which also took advantage of this great upper face, this great brow and forehead and eyes, and had him with one of those bite restraint masks as seen in Silence of the Lambs, and you know, those masks, the Cannibal that just covers the, yeah, you know, those things. So there are a couple of variations out there. Now you can't just buy those and take the surgical mask off or take the Cannibal restraint mask off and have Dr. Malcolm Brand, because they're molded in, as I understand it. But what a great mask. I hope you find one for your own collection, because he's really cool and spooky, and I think one of the best Mad Slasher characters of the period. And thanks to Death Studios for making a great mask of him. I was one of the first guys to get one, so mine's suffering some wear and tear with age these days, but you know, he says, look who's talking, and he has a good point there. Actually, Death Studio stuff is such nice quality. There are no cracks. There are no actual like holes forming anywhere. Even after all these years, he's still in pretty good shape. So that speaks well of the quality of Death Studio's products. Good night.